Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you stopping in to check out my video today. And we are here doing an update. I want to get everybody, just came down today, and it's a big one. So I just want to go through this real quick. I just printed out 11 pages of this update. So let's get started. Of course, it's update 1.2, and it's got all kinds of good stuff. I'll start with general AI performance optimizations. Fix for tracks shown at nighttime for a split second when loading into any session. Fixed double saving of temporary replays with multi-threading enabled. And fixed issues with shared memory status. Gameplay. Let's see here. We got loaded car customization. Pick and customize the design of your personal car. Note: custom cars can be used in quick race, custom race weekend, and multiplayer game modes. There you go. Disclaimer: customization possibilities may vary on a per car basis due to licensing restrictions. So I'm sure there's things you can't do, I guess. We will continue to add customizable livery templates in future updates. Added single make option to quick race and custom race weekend game modes. Possibility to use official liveries and custom liveried grids. Note: single make race with official liveries requires an official car to be selected. AI update to avoid dive bombing and slow chicanes. Oh, that'd be great for Monza. Porsche AI tweaks to mitigate their tendency to dominate sessions. Well, that's good too. Also, if they have damage, the AI now, if they have damage, if it's less than 5 minutes, they're going to stay in the session. They're not going to come in the pits. Fixed AI aggression setting, not producing expected behavior, and improve AI behavior and movement improvements. Note: different Argo levels should result in a bigger difference now. Different aggro levels should result in a bigger difference now. Engine now shuts down at the end of the pit stop if the player restarts it during the pit stop as a counter exploit measure. Okay. Session days are now set up as in real life in championship events. Okay, that's good. Fixed replay time multiplier resetting on highlights switching. Automatic highlights now spread across the entire race duration more consistently. Fixed marshal flags during single player replay. Fixed potential wrong car setup values in saved games. Increased maximum number of highlights from 20 to 30. Penalty system changed back to pre-pit lane decision. Note: serving a penalty must be checked in the MFD before entering the pit lane. Serving any pending penalty is always auto-selected by default. Driver stint does not reset when serving a penalty. If served penalty is selected before entering the pit lane. Okay. End of race in quick race does not require the opponents to complete the race. Race finish is declared when the player presses escape to return to the garage after crossing the line. Note: to see the complete results, the player must stay on track until all opponents cross the finish line. Other game modes are unaffected. Added tire sets option to custom race weekend, as well as custom championship rounds, which is great. So since I'm getting ready to start a new one, glad I waited. Fix some bugs with penalty procedure and saved games. Fixed race logic, digital display time during replay. Better with new replays is what it says. Optimized replay tire metrics, memory occupation, changed replay version. Fixed replay maximum time. Added 1 hour and 15 minutes to maximum time and replay options. That's good. Added auto highlights replay only for the player car and added its menu item tweaked highlights length. Removed time-based placement of highlights and added an overtake highlight replacement system based on position. Fixed saving and loading autosave replay options. Avoid camera spline movements during paused replay. Longer pre-action time for accident overtake highlights. Fixed pit alarm sound during slow-mo, paused, or speed-up replays. And then Kevin Siggy Rubinek is a winner of the McLaren Shadow Grand Final, added as a selectable McLaren Shadow driver. Added black-orange flag for the player car for heavy suspension damage. Also shown for lights damage during the night sessions that are declared wet, where lights are a requirement. So yeah, so if you got damaged lights, they're gonna make you come in to get them fixed. Penalty system for black-orange flags, damage and lights off. The player has 3 laps to pit for repair or turn on lights when the flag is shown. Ignoring the flag will result in a DQ. Fixed incorrect field of view used by some TV cams for the second activation. Pit lane open is triggered when the leader completes Sector 1 after a race start. Okay, then we got UI and HUD. New feature, added customization interface in the car showroom. Completely reworked car selection interface. Car selection restrictions removed from single car. Practice, hot lap, hot stint, super pole game modes. Each livery variant is now selectable in these game modes without restriction. Team and driver nationality added to car selection page. Showroom now allows you to turn on the lights and open the doors. That's cool. Team competitor dual information shown in car selection when relevant. Added driver BIOS on the car selection page. Click on driver aviator in the car selection page to show pop-up. Fixed lack of interactivity in the career showroom. Added official filter to the car selection page to show only official car entries. Various navigation related fixes to the user interface. Added chat message pop-up visibility option in the HUD settings page. MFD hides pit stop strategy items when serve penalty is selected. See penalty related change in the gameplay section. Various fixes for highlights HUD info. Various fixes for real-time leaderboard. Class filters added to race results and time points tables. Fixed real-time leaderboard positions in non-race sessions. Added support for highlights camera override toggle button. HUD server BOP shown in the timetables. See multiplayer section for more information. HUD open opponent ping indicator added to the real-time standings MFD. Team points also enabled in championship mode. As per real life rules, only the highest finishing team entry scores points for that team. Okay. Fixed tire sets, button not clickable with the mouse. Added brake chains options to the MFD. See physics sections for more. That's a big deal coming up here, is the brakes. We got added brake pad wear indicator inside the tire widget. That's a big one. Time delta is no longer shown during the first 2 laps of a race to avoid data flickering. Finished cars are now marked with a checkered flag in real time on the timetables and standing widgets. Virtual mirror is forced to hide in replays. Video options. Ability to save and load different custom video presets. Save and load multiple custom video presets for different display setups and racing scenarios. Revise setup, load, save function, and overwrite warnings. Added HDR exposure and HDR contrast to in-game view settings. When HDR is enabled, they replace the regular exposure and contrast settings in the video options in the UI. The options in the view settings are enabled in HDR mode only and vice versa. HDR enabled. The settings in the in-game view settings are used. HDR disabled. The ones in video options are used. Added messages about replay saving operations and fixed replay saving up for the first minute. Updated text and localization. And then VR, added VR world scale slider to video options. Note, lower values increase the world scale, higher values decrease it. Correct is 1-to-1 scale to real life, depends on the headset type. Now possible to set resolution scale to 100 while increasing VR pixel density to render at a lower resolution to gain performance, and upscale later to improve quality. For example, scale equals 70, VR pixel density equals 150. Minimum resolution scale set to 50 was 70. VR pixel density steps set to 5 was 10. Added specific video presets for VR. And then graphics. Added missing unique Spa 24-hour liveries for the 2019 blank paint season. Ferrari secondary display now has multiple pages to show various stint timers. Adjusted stance of the Jaguar G3 in the showroom. Pit animation now only shows the lollipop man when serving a stop and go. Okay. Fixed wrong number plate layout disabled in MP car selection. Fixed shift animations not working with keyboard controls. Number plates and season outfits now work correctly and as intended both in showroom and on track. Zandvoort checkered flag marshal added. Visual car dirt now slowly accumulates even when driving on-track surfaces. Visual car dirt and dust now accumulates faster in wet conditions. Improved LOD switching of wheels. Fixed LOD rims not being affected by customization. Enabled HDR output in video settings. New additions to the video options include shadow distance. Changes the distance of the more detailed sunlight shadows to trade quality for performance. Tone mapping. Selects the new filmic tone mapper or the legacy one used in the previous release. The film tone mapper gives a cinematic look more similar to the one used for HDR output. HDR Color Gamut selects between REC 2020 standard color gamut for HDR and DCI-P3 closer to current HDR displays. Colors are more saturated. Added support for HDR screenshots when HDR output is enabled. Note, Steam screenshot function does not work with HDR screenshots due to incompatibility. Forced 100% LOD scale in TV cameras F3 and F6. These cameras now ignore the UI setting. F1 and F7 cameras continue to read the UI setting. Fixed mirrors showing the last frame when switched off during gameplay. Also fixed mirrors showing the last frame when going back to the showroom from a session. Custom player teamwear is now showing up correctly in SP and MP sessions. And visual damage buildup adjustments added damage impact effect to the car's bodywork. Physics. Top TC level for storm conditions for all cars. Silverstone and Nürburgring 2019 BO tweak for the McLaren 720S. Tweaks on the front splitter of the Porsche 911 GT3R. Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Spa wet preset tweaks, both non-Evo and Evo. Paint, rain puddle tweaks. You have better control. You have less grip, but you have better control in sliding situations. Aerodynamics, vertical fin calculation improvements. Aerodynamics, slipstream tweaks and larger turbulence area can cause slight lateral movements. If you follow a car from very near side and from behind, you get those. You can get that. Chassis flex implementation. Chassis flex is more of a qualitative than quantitative influence. You will notice the car handling curbs quite better, accepting more steering input when sliding and more willingness to react on your inputs at the limit. At the same time, handling will be a bit less precise and might force you to work harder to be precise with your line or correct your line during a turn. Chassis flex also influences setup changes. Cars with more flex, softer chassis, usually need softer springs and better dampening. Cars with less chassis flex, rigid, can handle stiffer springs and be more precise, but might suffer at lower speeds and mechanical grip on bumps and curbs. Altitude simulation for all tracks. Higher altitude means less air density, resulting in lower engine performance. Less downforce, but also less drag. The heating model of the tires and brakes is also slightly influenced. Lap times on some circuits might be a bit slower, a la Spa. Tire model. Tweaks and fine-tuning offer more predictable tire grip over the limit for both slicks and, more importantly, wet tires. Brake pads and disc wear implementation and different brake pad choice. That's a big one. Brake pads and disc brakes wear is relative to the brake pad choice. Temperatures, driving style, ABS, and brake bias usage. Brake disc and pad wear is shown at the end of each driving session when you return to your strategy setup UI on the last readings box. Normally, brake disc should last more than 24-hour race, but because there's no pit stop time penalty, all teams are obliged to at least one fixed time long pit stop so they can change brakes. All teams prefer to change discs and pads at least one time during long endurance races. There are 3 different brake pads available to choose from, each with its own characteristics, and different brake pads, front and rear, are permitted. Very aggressive friction coefficient, max braking performance, that's pad 1. Aggressive disc and pad wear. Pedal modulation can be tricky if out of temperature or as it wears down, using hot lap and qualifying sessions, sprint races, and can withstand 3-hour races. Risky and dangerous to use over 3 or 4 hours because pads will wear down, overheat, and lose linearity and brake pedal. Pad 2, very good friction coefficient, very good braking performance, good disc and pad wear. Pad modulation almost always good and linear. Good feedback while overheating and gradual wear. Can be used in hot lap and qualifying sessions as well as sprint races, as what it loses in performance regains in braking modulation and predictability. Excellent pad and can make 24 hours race too with a bit of care. Will also overheat and lose linearity and brake pedal feel when worn out, but in a more predictable way and after much longer stints. Pad 3. Moderate friction coefficient. Braking zones can be longer and dry. Very moderate disc and pad wear. Excellent pedal modulation, also in cold ambient conditions. Very linear pedal feedback. Excellent choice for wet conditions and very long endurance races. Very predictable and easy to modulate brake pad. 4. Extreme aggressive friction and coefficient. Max braking performance, extremely aggressive disc and pad wear, bad cold performance. This is a sprint race pad that can last about an hour, but will show worse pedal feel, worse performance, and overheating towards the end of the 1-hour stint. Those kinds of pads are not used in endurance races, but included for demonstration purposes. Fixed Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3 excessive engine damage. Bentley Continental GT3 2018 performance tweaks. Fixed force feedback dampener not stopping during game pause. Fixed an error that could cause wrong relative impact speeds for collisions. Reworked damage system with accumulative damage resulting from impacts of various intensity. A significant improvement over the old system that always required a larger impact per damage zone to produce more damage. Repetitive impacts now have a much more substantial effect on the car's condition, and the car is much less tolerant versus repetitive hits. All cars have tweaks and fine-tuned damage values, physics, but be careful, as the damage can easily accumulate and repetitive small hits can result in severe damage in the end. Also, introducing damage threshold to allow reasonable paint trading without affecting car behavior. Low-speed aero damage now produces less negative effect on drag. Reduced front-rear damage detection cone. Audio. Fixed Doppler fluctuation for external engine sound. Added tire brake wear audio. Optimized audio channel used for wheel and external opponent sounds. Fixed audio options not applied on start level. Reworked spotter damage messages, smarter and based on cumulative damage. So that gives you more detailed damage reports. That's good. Multiplayer competition servers are now running in a scheduling offering up to 3 races per day with variations. Read more in the dedicated forum. The region assignment for CP servers is technically different now. potentially fixing the no servers in your region error. The CP rating buildup is working in a more logical way now, which could cause to reset CP ratings to 0 or lower values for some users. This will automatically wash out after a few CP races. Significantly improved CPU load with opponent count and with most types of CPUs. This is not necessarily affecting frames, but dramatically increasing the number of cars we can run before the 99% CPU occupancy warning. Significantly improved collision calculation efficiency, causing to scale CPU load a lot better on the physics thread. Enabled multi-pit assignments for private servers, resulting in higher grid counts for certain tracks. At the moment, Monza and Paul Ricard support 60 cars on the grid this way. Fixed netcode warping for higher speeds for certain server operating system. Fixed volatile and too high a ping measurement for certain server operation systems. Further netcode improvements that increase the accuracy for cars on straights. This will make cars relatively drive with almost perfect distance except one of both overtaxes in the player's bandwidth upload. Added additional custom BOP for private MP servers. Server administrators can now assign and set up additional ballast and intake restrictors. Let's see. Some more of the just little things for that. Ratings. SA rating will apply a trust bonus for finished races depending upon the race length. SA rating will not assign points to certain situations where the other car is clearly at fault. Added more outcome scenarios for accidents to be able to improve the understanding of nothing happened in SA considerations. Rebalancing of single-player SA values to balance the massively clean AI in 1.2. Fixed a timing issue which could make the contact bag inefficient in some situations. Overall, SA will be more tolerant and precise, resulting in becoming slightly easier again. Significant wall contacts now will act like off-track, resetting track metal progress, invalidating lap times, and cause race penalties if the car gained time. Wall contacts are now considered a root contact like mass accidents, so a second car hit by a car bouncing off a wall would not receive SA penalties. That's nice. Fixed an issue where lap time records would be recorded with incorrect times. And that is it. So that takes care of all of them. A lot of stuff in there. A lot of great stuff from Kunos. And I'll be trying it here next few days and doing some adjustments on everything. And I hope you all come back and check. And I hope you all have a great day and come back and check out the channel another time. You all have a good one. See ya.